inside the OMG episode number 200. 200. What? Should have had these ready to go. 200. 200 episodes since March 5th of 2019. What is going on? This is crazy. Let me turn out these lights. Hold on. Whoa, 200 episodes in a row. Except for one when I was in the hospital. But my kid's covered, so we're good. Party up. Party up. It's a party. 200 episodes. I can't even believe it. 200 episodes. So tell me what you think. Let me turn this up just a little. Let me know how the mood lighting is. Is the mood lighting good for this episode? Oh, maybe that's kind of blowing me out a little. Is the mood lighting good, or should I turn on the overheads? You let me know. Jimmy, 200. Yes. Mom and Dad, Beth, thank you. Love the mood lighting. Okay, so I'm going to keep the mood lighting. Let me have these kind of blinking here, so it's, making it happen. You can still, how about that? Can you still see that if I'm sitting here? Hey, all right. Party time. Party. All right, tonight's episode. Well, guess what time of year it is? Right? It's New Year's Eve time. We're going to talk about New Year's Eve tonight because that's the next thing coming up. Episode 2001. Whoa, let's slow that down. Episode 201 will be in 2023. So the next thing that's coming up in between now and then is New Year's. So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about New Year's Eve. Oh, the moonlighting is beautiful. Thanks, Sherry. Appreciate it. Number 200. Okay. So, cool stuff, cool memories, a lot of great times writing the song New Year's Eve. So that's what we're going to do tonight. So, let me think back. It was probably 2016-ish or 2015 that the idea to write a song for New Year's Eve came up. And there was kind of imagery of, Prince with his 1999 song, because that's always played during New Year's Eve. So we did a little nod to that. And then we started talking about a little throwback to the 80s and with Super Freak, which is Rick James, obviously. And there was, Chic. There was a big 70s band, disco band. And so then it was like, all right, so I think the pre-chorus lyric came first. Disco Party Twilight Zone. It's a throwback, we can go. David Bowie, Super Freak. Looking, feeling, sexy, chic. New Year's Eve. So the pre-chorus leading into the chorus. So I think kind of started with that. So it was like, I kind of had this, Disco Party Twilight Zone. It's a throwback, we can go. David Bowie, Super Freak, looking, feeling, sexy, chic. It's a night of make-believe, dance like New Year's Eve. So we had just finished working, we did 2 EPs with Eddie Kramer. Eddie Kramer is a legendary engineer and producer who, if you don't know, he was actually there at Woodstock in 1969. He recorded Woodstock. He recorded Kiss albums, mixed Led Zeppelin albums. He was there with the Trogs, if you don't know who the Trogs are. The Kinks, I think he did something with them. Peter Frampton, his Frampton Comes Alive album, which was one of the most successful live albums ever. especially up until that point. And obviously Jimi Hendrix. So after working with Eddie Kramer, Eddie got busy and we were doing our own thing. We ended up producing our Untitled album, which is this, the tie, and put that out. And then it was like, hey, why don't we do a single? So we started writing New Year's Eve, came up with the pre-chorus, and then started working on the verses and got it to a place where we were like, hey, this is pretty cool. And we started playing it live, and which is what, we used to do a lot, play live and work the songs out live before we got into the studio. So Sherry says, you were watching Dr. No Sleep before you noticed that I was live. I appreciate you switching over to this live because it's live and we can communicate. And then you can go back to listening to the scary voice of Dr. No Sleep after this. So there you go. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you being here. Right? Beth says, woohoo! Okay, party. Disco Party Twilight Zone. So we got it to a place where we felt good about it. And then it was like, we worked with Eddie. We did Untitled on our own. And then we thought, well, why don't we find another producer to work with for the New Year's Eve single and see how that goes. So I don't even remember how we came across Joe, but Joe Solo, he worked with Macy Gray, did some stuff with Michael Jackson, did a hard rock album with a band called The Used. I believe it's that band, and some other things. And we hooked up with Joe, and let me see. Josh, what's up, man? Appreciate you being here. 200. Yep, the Dean had to be here for this. 200. We're talking about New Year's Eve. All right. So we got together with Joe, and we did a little pre-production on it. And he was like, hey, let's kind of, I don't know, he suggested to modify some of the lyrics, and we switched some lines around to make it flow a little better. So we took his advice, and we worked some stuff out before we went into the studio, and then he booked a studio day to do drums and bass at a place in Los Angeles called The Lair. So then we had that day documented so that we could share it with you now, which is fantastic. And of course, hold on a second, I've got my show notes here and I want to make sure that I've got what I need. Here we go. So here we are at The Lair. D on drums, Kelly on bass, with Joe Solo producing. Here we go. And this was like January 2nd, I think, or January 3rd. Probably mentioned it in the video. Check this out. We're here tracking drums today at the Lair Studios. And I've got my morning tea to get us going. Even though my parts are
You're not
done.
singing, though.
My parts are done.
You're like so faking it.
Yeah. We're tracking drums and bass.
Good luck.